There's a punk concert going on. We're in the basement, and tonight we're here for the punk, and we're here for Motorsav.
Yeah.
So we have Rune. Locally we'll have a bit less music if we're a bit lucky.
Yeah.
So something is happening with your band.
Yeah. Pretty big things actually. Half of the band quit.
Half of the band they quit?
Yeah.
You didn't fire them?
No, they quit.
They quit?
Yeah.
What they found better than that?
Beats me. No, but it's because Stina and I, we live in the southern part of Fyn, and it's like 2 hours drive from here.
Right.
And I just they're really busy with other bands.
Yeah.
And they're just like it's so abstract to have a band so far away. And I want to go. I want to do stuff all the time. I have this plan that I want to do like a record every year.
Yeah.
While they're doing other bands, like they have Heona, Sankt Dick, Missionaries of Charity, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they were just like, we don't have time for this anymore.
More importantly, what it happened lately is that you have a new album.
Yeah.
And this album will be probably the end of Motorsav as we know it, and the continuing of Motorsav with a different formula. And that's why we are today. So we will talk a bit with you of what has been Motorsav, what will be Motorsav, and what Motorsav has been in the rock punk culture. Here in Denmark or here in Copenhagen.
Yeah.
There will be something a bit special because I asked you to pick up some movies and some songs.
Yeah.
So we'll do an anthology. We will tell your story for them.
Yeah.
And well, here we go. Let's start
let's
with
go.
a new album. So let's see what we got.
I think it's over there.
Back to the camera.
Yeah.
With a special new album. It's shiny as always,
Very
and we
shiny.
have punk. So, Bløder Ud Nætter, and I was very puzzled looking at this album.
Yeah.
First of all, we have quite some tracks, and many of these tracks, or all these tracks, they were already songs from your band.
Yeah.
And now you remastered and rewrote them. What happened? Why coming up with this now?
Well, the thing is that our first record sold out.
Okay.
The self-titled, and
We have it.
and our 7-inch also sold out. And we didn't want to repress them because they sound so different from where we are now.
We were talking about Dødsløse Nætter. Dødsløse Nætter?
Dødsløse Nætter.
Dødsløse.
It's Danish. It's horrible to pronounce.
Which means?
It means deathless nights.
Yes.
And it's very much like, I think our thought of it was like, deathless is like an analogy for zombies.
Yeah.
So it's basically just zombie nights.
So it's a zombie, this one.
No, it's not. That's not. I don't know who that is, honestly.
Because when I saw it, I thought like some post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, for sure. It's from the movie Threads.
Oh, okay.
An amazing movie, very low budget, made by BBC, I think. It's like a mockumentary of what would happen if England was hit by a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, and we'll get to that because it has a very personal and very specific type of catch.
Yeah.
Now, you were saying that you had your first press of your self-titled and your second album that were
The second 7-inch. Yeah,
7-inch that went out very quickly.
Yeah.
So you wanted to remaster the song, but you didn't want to do another press.
Exactly.
Why?
Well, first of all, on the first album, or self-titled, first of all, the drums suck. We had a drummer that just didn't want to rehearse, so he was kicked out before the release party, actually.
Yeah.
And also the sound was very much different from where we wanted to go. Where Bittekurt, the bass player who's been in Motorsav from day one, and I both come from post-punk goth.
Right.
So we quite quickly decided that we wanted to go like in a more post-punk, gloomy direction. So when our label Kink Records asked if we wanted to reprint the first record, we already had done a second press.
Okay.
The one that you have here.
Yes. We'll show it in a second.
Yeah. And we were like, we'd rather re-record it in the way that we felt that it was supposed to be, and also kind of like with the current lineup at the time, we wanted to like own the songs, make them our own. So yeah, that's what we did, and then we did a couple of cover songs as well. There's a Divine cover, there's a Devo cover as well, and a couple of songs from one of my old projects, Torpedo Zombies as well.
So as I was introducing, so it's song that you already recorded, but now re-recorded with a new band. You have a new sound. You have some new riff. You have changes because of the changes in the band.
Yeah, exactly.
So there is a lot to go. That goes on here more than just reprinting the songs or remastering them.
Definitely, yeah.
Now, we were talking about your first album, and we have it here. It's actually one of my favorite albums that come out in the punk of Copenhagen in the latest decades, we can say.
Yeah, okay, I'll take it.
a bit less than a decade.
I very much like it as well.
And something that really blew me away of this album is that compared to the newest work, it is much more punk.
Yeah.
There is some roughness to that. It's not as clean and polished, and it's not the nice riff. But when you put it in, you can listen your sound for the first time. I think Asphalt Blower is the first track.
Yeah.
And that's still my favorite because when I put it on, it was something I never heard in Copenhagen before.
Asphalt Blower is also one of my favorite songs. It's I think it's maybe the best song I ever wrote, so I totally understand.
It's about the car crash.
Yes, it actually is. Yeah. Very much inspired by Sam Hain's song "Kiss of Steel."
Yeah.
When I read the lyrics for that one, I really love how Glenn Danzig took like a moment and described it like it's like an instance.
Yeah.
Very much like it's a split second described, and I really loved that.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do that. That was actually the foundation of the lyrics for Motorsav. Was like very much I wanted to do, instead of campy horror, zombie stuff like that, I wanted to do real horror.
Yeah, because actually that was for me something unexpected coming to this interview and talking to you before the interview to try to put some lines. I imagine, coming from the Misfits, our previous interview, we will post it in the comments. But coming from a previous interview, I was expecting something a bit more campy, that you were going out with B-movies.
Yeah.
Instead, you actually, when I ask you, give me 3 songs and 3 movies, you give me dystopia.
Yeah, totally. All my songs are about like car crashes, accidents, depression, mental illness, all this very bleak stuff.
Yeah. So it kind of fit me a bit, and then I felt like, okay, actually I see a pattern arising already from the first album, and really your technique, your bandmates, your sound kind of develop over the album.
Very much so, yeah.
The latest album is still your sound, is still your themes, but the sound, you can really tell that there is a more construction in many ways.
Yeah.
Something that never changed is really your imaginatory toward horror, and that was always a staple in your music. So that's what I want to talk today.
Yeah, for sure.
I asked you to outline for me 3 songs that really tells Motorosav.
Yeah.
Can you give me the Gule Død? Your single, very successful. Bløder Ud?
Yeah.
Maybe you should say that.
Bløder Ud.
That's Danish, guys.
You
have to learn it. Do it again.
Bløder Ud. It means bleeding out.
And then din Krop.
Yeah, din Krop.
That is your body.
Yes.
So that's
exactly.
Also Italian can speak it.
Yeah.
So we start with the Gule Død.
Yep.
So what is the Gule Død?
Den Gule Død is about mustard gas and the use of it during World War One. I read an article that described what happens to your body when you're exposed to mustard gas.
Or,
exactly,
like
and how it just like corrodes everything biological. And I was just like, oh, Jesus Christ, man, that's bleak. So I was just like, it's perfect for a Motorsav song.
Yeah.
But I tried to put I wouldn't say a poetic twist on it, but I wanted to describe again those moments.
Yeah.
And the chorus is like your son. You have seen your son, like in the sun, moon, and sun. Your song is over. Your fall is here. It ends now. Kind of like just a lot of ways to describe death, pretty much. And I don't think I'm a big poet at all.
No.
But it was just a fun challenge for me to like come up with different ways to describe death.
Yeah,
pretty much.
But your music, it's very based on emotion and the impact of the sound.
Yeah.
I cannot say that the words are less important, but they are very much integrated with the feeling of doom, of this very full, very chaotic sound that you generate also with the voice distortion and the punk drumming. And now you have Casper on the guitar that you also do a lot of chainsaws.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's say that is all built together. But what I was curious about that, because Nerve Gas, it's in many other songs. I think also Sabaton did a song about that. And of course they did a Sabaton-esque type of song, you know, very glorious, very, you know, the trenches and the heroes and so on. But you did something about someone dying of the Nerve Gas.
Yeah.
So it's very much, you know, the gloomy part of
Definitely. Also, I would never write a song that glorified any kind of war, because war is just terrible. There's nothing good coming out of it, really.
Yeah.
So I don't even think it ever crossed my mind to glorify war in any ways. But again, it's this whole thing about like telling a story, putting yourself into the perspective of this person that I found interesting.
Yeah, and it's also interesting in that sense because, again, when we talk about the horror, about chemical warfare in general, that could be Agent Orange, it could be chlorine gas. The real gloom of that, it's actually the impact on civilian, the panic, the fear, the scare. Sure. And you never really touch anything regarding the war itself. You were very focused on the dread of that.
Also, I have so like
it's very existential.
It very much is, and I have a lot of existential thoughts a lot of the time. I deal with like anxiety, and a part of that is really like having some sort of fear of death in some way. So I think some of these songs as well are like a catharsis. It's therapeutic in some way. Just kind of like getting my thoughts down on paper. I know. I'm not saying that I'm afraid of being attacked by mustard gas or something like that. But you know, it's the dread of death.
It's the dread of suffering and death. And of course, okay, I'm not a psychologist, so forgive me for the bad for putting that bad. But you know, sometimes you need to put things on the surface or to speak them out to fight your fear of them.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's a very common mechanism.
Yeah.
And also, I really feel like, you know, really this tension and this screaming about that, it's really functional for you too.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Also, just standing on the stage, screaming these lyrics.
It's just something that you're scared about.
It's pretty again therapeutic. For sure. It's I always say that I'm not that much into playing live, but when I do, it's really good.
Yeah,
I really love it. Not that I'm saying that the show is good, but I feel good afterwards. You know, it's really like an outlet.
Well, your shows, they're also very particular for people who haven't saw you playing. In the way that I believe that Motorosav have a very specific sound on the records.
Yeah.
But when it comes to live, then you generally have a more punk catch because of the improvisation, because of the multiple instruments you have, also the scene.
Yeah.
So it really gives you a more emotional impact the live, while the record is more clean sound. So you have a very different experience with your group.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to bound this matter of the suffering of the people or the very human-centric vision that you have to go to the next track.
Yeah.
That is Bløder
Ud. Yes.
Bløder Ud. We will have a joke about that.
For sure.
Yeah. Bløder Ud is a bit more funky when you listen it to that without understanding what it's about. Yeah. Because you have very long chanting, you have a little bit more easy guitar.
A lot of melodies.
It's actually one of the most approachable from your repertoire.
Yeah, definitely. And it's also, it was Stine who wrote the guitar melodies.
Yeah.
Before she was even in the band, before we even thought about her coming into the band.
Okay, Stine is your fellow mate that will still keep on playing
Yeah,
with you
exactly.
with Motorosav.
Exactly. Also my wife.
Just to... congratulations.
Yeah.
Nice. So you teamed up.
Yeah, totally. No, but it's one of my favorite songs by Motorsav because I really love easy melodies. I love the very like energetic. It's not complicated in any way. It goes through the same notes, the same 3 notes all the way through. Very easy on bass. And the lyrics are about just bleeding out, hiding in somewhere with somebody else. And it's very much like we're bleeding out, we're dying. Let's just hold each other.
Yeah.
Again, very existentialistic and
so
very
when
much.
you get the cold because of the bleeding, so try to get some comfort.
Yeah, and just accepting that you're about to die, just bleeding out. And it says in the song, they're calling for us. They're coming very soon. And I don't know if that's zombies or soldiers or raiders in a post-apocalyptic scenario or monsters. I don't know. But it was very much, again, the feeling of dying and hiding. And just being like, we can't do anything about it. Let's just hold each other and die.
Yeah. But something that really catch me about the lyrics or the storyline of that is that it's still very human related.
Yeah.
So it's not focused much on the monster that is seeking. Whatever it is, the monster could be alien. No one can hear you screaming in space.
Exactly.
Or Earth,
totally.
it is alien tree because it is a mess. But it's more about, two people that wish to call and they try to find comfort together.
Yeah.
And for me, I can really rebound to what is the secure attachment or safe attachment theory of psychology. About the secure attachment theory, for people who are not familiar with that, is like when we're born as children, we need to be fed, we need to be cared, so we need to attach in a way, and we use our crying or we use our voice to attach to someone and seek the body heat or the body contact. And for me, having this song with the idea of 2 people hiding and try to comfort together and the enemy screaming or calling for them, it's kind of a very nice twist on the idea of I wish to scream, I wish to call, as it happened in all the horror movies that the victim scream, there is the captive screaming.
Yeah, and that's also
the monster screaming.
Yeah, but that's also what I like about those lyrics is that I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I have my own version of it in my head, but it changes all the time. So it's like I didn't have anything planned with those lyrics. I didn't tell a story. I was just like, this is just what happens right now. Yeah. It's like, so yeah, for sure.
And again, let's keep on going with people feeling. So a very feeling-oriented type of narratives. You never go for the gloom, you never go for the killing, you always go for the moment.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. And I never say like, and then you die.
Yeah.
It's more like I try to wrap it up in something in metaphors or whatever. I want to make it so that the listener can kind of make their own story, get their own pictures, I don't want to serve them anything.
Krop.
Yeah.
That's I cannot figure it out. I cannot fathom what was about Krop.
It is actually it's based on a Stephen King short story.
Okay, Krop. Okay, so it's not from a movie. It's from Stephen King.
Yeah, it's from a short.
What did you of that story, or what was that about?
Well, the story is about these kids going through this post-apocalyptic world where there's been like a pandemic that's killed off a lot of people, and they're just kind of trying to survive in this environment. And when the story starts, they have just used a human being as like a bonfire, a kindle.
Yeah.
And then it's not really a story. It's more like a monologue of one of the kids.
Yeah.
But I took it I took it a bit further, and my lyrics are about, my text is about this kid who's like, well, if it's so easy for them to use this person as a bonfire kindle, how easy would it be for them to kill me? Will they even remember who I am, my name, or backstory? And that's pretty much just it. Again, one of those moments described. So I really like, what I like about the song is that it's very much like I continue Stephen King's short story.
Yeah, and it was also an interesting short story. I've been checking that up. It was short enough.
Awesome.
In this, I think that my impression, or my first impression, was this is a story about this contagion and this survival and how far people will go to survive.
Yeah.
But actually, there is a very focal point that is in the end of the story. There is 2 or 3 survivors that they are sure that they will survive because they are immune, because they took a similar virus before.
Yeah.
And one of them gets sick and he will probably die. So the other 2 survivors, they were saying, so he's dying and he took as us the other illness, so we are not immune, we are probably dying too. And then he say, no, I believe that he lied to us. And the other person listening to that thinks, how do I know if you are not lying to me after we did a human sacrifice or a human dinner just for fear? So we're talking about Stephen King, Krop, fear for the post-apocalyptic, how far a human being will go with his action, with his lies, and when someone does something so atrocious as using another human being for Tinder, how prone is going to be to lie or to stab you in the back.
Exactly. It's very much about survival. And maybe also actually the fear of survival somehow.
You would be afraid to survive.
Yeah, it would suck. It would suck to be alone as a lone survivor in a post-apocalyptic world. I really like the dynamics of that. It's very interesting.
It's definitely scary, but it's scary in many different ways, because you could be helpless, because you could be lonely, because you could, disturb the society and start to behave in an animalistic way.
Yeah, for sure.
And
there's this amazing movie.
I think that people are very set up or afraid of different aspects of that. What would be for you the most dreadful thing if you would have? Let's imagine Lord of the Flies, Golding. Which for me is the same thematic on the basis.
Yeah, for sure.
So disrupting the society, having to survive. And became evil or atrocious just for survival. What would be for you the crossing point you would not feel yourself?
It would definitely be that losing my closest, like my kids, my wife, stuff like that. Like the people closest to me, if they were harmed in any way, losing them would be horrifying. I think on a more
let's talk about your action. How far you would go?
How far I would go?
Yeah. Or where you would say, now I crossed the line of anything I would have imagined myself doing.
It would probably to kill somebody to eat them.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that would be where I'd be like, Jesus fuck.
So cannibalism is not accepted, or slaughtering for cannibalism is not accepted.
If I had to do it, it would fuck me up pretty bad. I think that would be what comes to mind right now. There are probably a lot of other things that would be terrible to do, but that's the one. I saw, what's it called? I think it's called We Live or something like that. It's a movie about this airplane that crashes in the Andes, and it's based on a true story, and they have to eat each other. I think that would mess me up pretty bad.
And of course cannibalism, it's a big taboo.
For sure.
Murdering too.
That would mess me up. I think that.
I would say that for me, for example, it would start to break the four statical principle, because when you start to break them, then you get easier and easier.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I feel that if I would reach that point, I would be desensitized enough to just accept it.
Yeah.
And I know it's super gloomy,
Well,
but I feel that when you reach that point, you
Yeah.
already broke so many of your own ethical rules.
Yeah, but we were
Inside of
also
society.
we were made to survive. Like,
Yeah.
So I don't. It's also it's so interesting when people are like, I would never be able to survive in a war. Maybe, it's like you don't know who you are when you're in a crazy
Absolutely.
situation.
And I think there is no shame in survival, but maybe now we are maybe spiraling a bit into the gloom. You had a last pick that it doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
And the last pick that doesn't exist yet, we don't tell you the song because it doesn't exist. It will exist soon eventually.
Yeah, it should.
It should exist soon.
That's the plan.
So we have a surprise. We talk about something that is inspiring you, and then when you will do your new work, people will start to search and find
Yeah, for
where
sure.
does it sit.
For sure.
So what is the artwork, movie, song?
It is the before mentioned movie Threads, this mockumentary about what would happen, how the people, how the state would handle if a nuclear bomb went off in England.
Yeah.
It's super bleak. You follow like some civilians
Yeah.
and some government people and stuff like that, and it's just 2 hours of bleak doom, pretty much. It's so depressing. I invited a bunch of friends over for a party, and I put the movie on, and we were all just like, after 2 hours of that, it's. I watched it 3 times,
Yeah.
and it just fucks with me every time.
Yeah, it's a very special movie.
It is.
Okay,
very much.
it's done like a mockumentary or a documentary. Now we won't go into the technical details. I will put a link, if not in the video, in the article related to the video. You go and fetch it. But one of the peculiarity of this, and that's what I was digging in when I was preparing this question, is that it's not like 20 Days Later of Danny Boyle. It's not the Cornetto trilogy of Rick.
Yeah.
It's not either the Children of Tomorrow or the Day After Tomorrow. It's not just an apocalyptic movie. The particularity of that is that, of course, it starts with the spiderweb effect. It doesn't matter where you are in the world and how peaceful is the situation. It could happen that because of a domino effect, some nation will get in war with other nation, or some terror attack will happen here or there, and you will get involved. So a nuke may fall on your head even if you have nothing to do with that.
And also,
so not being neutral is not an excuse.
Totally. Also, just the fact that the state of the world right now is it's not far away. The whole post-apocalyptic situation. It's more relevant than it's been in since the Cold War, actually.
And as Dr. Strangelove, a movie I really like, teaches, sometimes there's not a real reason. There is the solar lack and the stupidity, let's say.
Yeah, for sure.
Or
for
the
sure.
chain of events or the agitators.
Yeah.
So you never know. You don't need a rationale for that to happen. So that's super scary.
Yeah.
But this movie, compared to other movies, it also have another peculiarity, that you have 1 hour when you have the life of the people, like middle class people, lower middle class people, and you have a lot of existential threat because this woman is pregnant, is a good time to have a children. There was all this interrogation of people because of the Cold War. Is it a safe time? Is not a safe time? Can we trust it? Then the bomb happened, and after the bomb, people get killed.
Yeah.
So there's no story.
No. It's just like
And
a
that's
chain
the
of events.
dread.
Yeah.
But neither a chain of events because the story is stopped. I won't spoil anything, so
Watch it. It's amazing.
don't have any more a story going on. You just have the story of the people. You just have episode of the people to signify the disruption of society.
Yeah.
So basically, the fallout just create a savage life into what is left of Sheffield, London, whatever it is.
Yeah. But that's also what I like about the movie, that it's very much like, it's, as you say, it's not really a story per se. It's more like a lot of you follow some people, and it's very much like moments in a way, in a certain way, like kind of like my songs. It describes like this woman who is also on the front of the new Motorsav record. Is this woman just walking around in this nuclear wasteland? It's just there are so many amazing images in this movie, and I also read that a lot of the people involved with the movie, especially the actors, had to get like what's it called? Psychology help from psychologists.
Okay, really?
Because it's just been so traumatizing filming the movie.
Wow.
The production was brutal. So I tell myself at least that you can tell that in the movie that the actors either they're traumatized or they're really amazing actors. I don't know, but it's just so bleak. And
Say it really encapsulates also your imaginatory for the horror we saw, of course, in your new collection of remastered, but also in your first album, something that it's really very human-centered, is very much related to the psychology of the person. Doesn't have the grandeur of a mummy or of a Dracula or whatever. It's very human-related, and it's very common people or common situation. So what you think is the most scary part about being a human or the existential side? Because I mean, you seems very concerning about people. I don't know if you are a caring person. I believe so.
I would say so, yeah.
But you seems very concerned and very afraid for the evil toward people. I
think my
How
biggest...
does it come that? I mean, how do you connect with other people? How do you feel about humanity? Well, no, that's too much.
No,
Sorry,
but
philosophical moment. I have to be stupid.
No, but it's a fair question. I believe in humanity, but I don't believe in humans, because I think that humans are easily corruptible.
Right.
You know, and it's the corrupted people that fucks up the world. They're the ones that gonna nuke us, and we can't do anything about it. You know, power corrupts. But I care a lot about my fellow man.
Yeah.
Okay, it's getting very up here right now, but I think everything sums up to a fear of death. This whole...
So it's all about death.
Yeah. It is, it's because...
So you go to pure existentialism.
It's so unfathomable for me to the whole concept of death, because I'm not religious in any ways.
No.
But the thought of just not being there.
Yeah.
The thought of not having a consciousness is the thought of just disappearing. It's so mind-boggling. It's so... I can't imagine it. And also because I live a very good life.
Yeah.
And I have kids, I have a wife, I have all these amazing things in my life. And losing that scares the living shit out of me. And honestly, I think that's where a lot of my themes come from. Just the fear of death, pretty much.
So you're afraid of your death. I used to think like, when it will happen, I will be no more, so I will not know.
Yeah.
But still, you may feel sorrow for the people who are left behind, or pity, or, you know. I think that for me would be more like leaving people behind the hard part of that, more than what is gonna happen of me. I mean, so maybe it'll be just nothing.
I think for me, I would call myself agnostic, because I don't know what's happening. I have no fucking clue, and nobody knows really. You know when you die, if there's something, if there isn't anything.
You know when you're dying. We don't know if you know when you died.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And some people they don't.
Yeah.
So only few people have the expiration date very clear in their minds.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Now I'm getting messed up. We talk about death.
Yeah. Punk rock and death.
Punk rock and death.
Yeah. It's such a huge philosophical theme, and it's so I don't know, man. It's just I just think the fear of nothingness. If you can say that, it scares the living shit out of me. It's not like I walk around every day being scared of it. I'm not afraid to cross the street because I'm afraid to die. But sometimes at night I will be like, it's kind of like trying to grasp the concept of the universe being never-ending. It's like it's my mind explodes every time I try to grasp that concept.
Yeah.
Same thing with death. So I really think that again, these lyrics are like my way of dealing with this.
Will we have maybe a little bit more twist in the thematic next, or you will follow?
Yeah, but I have a few songs for the next record.
Yeah.
First of all, the whole sound is gonna be different again this time because it's just Stine and I writing and performing the record. And I have some more like tongue-in-cheek lyrics.
Yeah. And we were talking that Stine, she will take the bass.
Yeah.
So she won't do synth anymore. So there maybe will be a more rock sound.
The sound is gonna be more primitive and more like shaved down. And it's gonna be like more psychobilly inspired because I'm a big Necromantics fan, for example. The Danish classics. Yeah. And I really like the twangy guitar melodies and stuff like that. And I can do that now because the other guys who left the band, they weren't too much into that. So it's gonna be different. And I have a song called Jeg er Ord.
Yeah.
It translates to I am worm.
Yeah.
And it's literally a song about a character from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. A big worm living in the sewers and just eating people. It's really cool. So I'm gonna. It's not gonna be silly.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be. It's not as bleak as a lot of the other stuff I do. But I have songs about depression and I have songs about death still.
Yeah.
But I want to do something else.
So we won't have a soundtrack yet. Maybe that will be another project.
It's gonna be in the vibe of the music.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some long intros. We're gonna have some long some instrumentals as well.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna do a completely instrumental record yet.
Do you have a soundtrack that really hit you a lot, like from a movie or from a work?
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. Oh,
I
okay.
fucking love that movie.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I love the soundtrack.
Yeah,
Really.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
I also love that movie.
It's amazing.
Don't go there, man.
No.
I'm gonna clamp you.
There was this review that compared Motorsav to a band that could play in an underground club in the Blade Runner universe.
Yeah.
And when we got that review, I was just like, okay. I have it now. I love sci-fi where the buttons click.
Yes.
Like instead of touch screens, it has to be Alien as well. Maybe my favorite movie ever. I just love
Which of the aliens?
The first one. It's just called Alien. Jesus Christ. You cannot call Alien Alien 1. It's just Alien. And Alien 2 is Aliens. And Alien 3 is... I love Alien 3 as well. The first 3 Alien movies are just perfect movies, really.
Honestly, the first Alien was the best. I think for Alien 3 because it's so stupidly messed up with the monks on Earth, but on the space.
But it looks so cool.
I agree.
The
it was
visuals. Yeah, totally. The visuals are amazing in that movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Really, really. But it was a weird movie.
Yeah, it wasn't a masterpiece in a way, but
it was also fucked over. He was also fucked over by the producers. Like he had to cut down, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he also was like 20 years old, the director, when he did it.
I think we have been talking about everything and everywhere.
We've been everywhere.
From Life Ends and Dread and Bow Wows, Goth, Punk.
Yeah.
And we talk about movies. We love movies.
It's everything.
Do we miss something? I mean, we already talked about the Misfits. We already talked... Oh, Misfits.
Yeah, I had this one during our last conversation as well. Yeah. I always wear this.
Yeah.
No, but I think we've been around and we talked about death. Yeah. We talked about Blade Runner. We talked about music.
We talked about your album.
We talked about the album.
Something that never aired in Scandinavia.
Yeah.
So, I think we are good to go. And, guys, this is gonna be maybe one of the last concerts of them as we know them. But the records are good. And sooner or later there will be
a new
going
record.
on.
I
There
think
will be a new
I think
record.
we'll have a new record ready in a year.
So if you love what you heard from Motorosav before, you want to check out what is happening next, and let him know.
Yeah.
Go back with the guys or keep on going. I'm sure that will be a keep on going.
Yeah.
Because you did 4 albums. 4 albums is the perfect amount of music that everyone should enjoy.
Totally. There's a lot to dig in. And also check out Hævner, Kasper, and Bitterkurt, and Johan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have him? No,
No,
it
they're
ran
not
away.
here.
It's somewhere around, but yeah.
I can talk shit about them now that they're not here.
I'm done.
Yeah.